Alright everybody, welcome back to a brand new video here on the second channel. It's now time to look at every single deck that made day 2 at the Louisville Regional Championships. Of course, being a very big tournament here in the Stellar Crown format. Actually, some pretty interesting results for sure, especially with what decks ended up being in the finals. Kind of crazy stuff, and I'm definitely excited to look at all the decks in day 2 and see what cool stuff was played. I've already kind of taken a peek already and seen on Twitter, but there are some interesting cards that made their first Limitless page debuts. But I'm excited to see if any cool rogues made day 2. Just kind of look at how the meta is looking, because of course this is going to be important to know for LAIC, which is going to be a giant tournament in this format coming in November, which I will be attending. So I want to make sure we are all ready for LAIC. Now, if you're new here to the second channel, make sure to subscribe down below. We're on the road to 18,000 subs. If you're going to enjoy the video, leave a like and all that good stuff. And yeah, I'll leave a link to Limitless down below if you want to go check out any of the lists for yourself. And let's get into it. So we saw Caleb Gettimer win the regional with Raging Bolt. I'm not gonna lie, I did not expect Raging Bolt to win. I mean, I expected it to like have an okay performance. I know everyone kind of just like trashes on the deck and says this deck is bad and it's not a real deck and it's mid. Raging Bolt is genuinely just a strong deck that sometimes just wins games off the back of the opponent not being able to really keep up with it. It's a scary deck to play against, especially when you go first, right? And you can't stabilize a good board in time. It can run you over, and that's probably what Caleb was able to do. Now, Caleb's list is interesting. Of course, there's no Briar. There's also no Hand Disruption in the deck. There's no Iono or Judge. Just like straight up Sada boss. There is 3 Bravery Charm. I think that's like the big thing in the deck is the triple Bravery Charm. Just making Raging Bolt really difficult to KO makes a lot of sense. Does have a Slitherwing. The Slitherwing's interesting. It's basically just there to counter, it's just there to counter Terrapago CX, because its Burning Turbulence attack does 240, which can one-shot Terrapagos. It does have Stomp Off 2, which, I mean, in like weird and rare scenarios, you might use that. But for the most part, you're just there to counter Terrapagos, which is kind of cool. It's better than Sandy Shocks in that regards, right? Because Terrapagos is supposed to be one of Raging Bolt's worst matchups, but I'm sure the Slitherwing does fix it. There's also Luminion in the deck, another card you don't usually see in Raging Bolt, just there to help guarantee that you find your Sadas and stuff. But in second place, an even bigger surprise was Lost Box. Now, I'm not saying Lost Box was a dead deck or anything, but I definitely did not kind of predict this deck to do this good, mainly because Lost Box kind of was falling off. Just Regidrago was too good, and I would argue that this deck maybe could have a bad time at a Dusknoir decks, but Michael Davidson did prove us wrong by making it all the way to the finals. I mean, in all honesty, Michael probably would have won the Raging Bolt matchup if his deck actually drew a little better, because Lost Box has a very favored Raging Bolt matchup. Like, if I was playing Lost Box and I wanted to pick out what decks I would hit, I would probably choose Raging Bolt, because it's a pretty good matchup when you have Bear in the deck. You can basically go like Cram, Sableye, Bear, Bear. Like, it's a pretty good matchup, right? So, unfortunately, I was not able to win, just bad draws and got the DPL, but Lost Box definitely could have won this regional. It was very possible it would have happened, and I think Lost Box, going forward, I don't know if it's still good. From what I've seen on Twitter from a lot of the DDG members who played the deck, they were saying that, like, oh, you just take an auto loss to Regidrago, but you kind of just beat everything else. So I guess that's the thing if you're going to play this deck is if you expect a lot of Regidrago at your locals, don't play Lost Box, because Drago just destroys this deck. As you can see, this list plays no mana fee, so it's just like flat out just not respecting Regidrago at all. The main attackers being Bear and Hands is interesting too. Also playing the Spirit Tomb. It's a very actually similar list to an online tournament Lost Box deck I saw that also played Bear, Hands, and Tomb. So it's definitely an interesting 60 here for sure. Not playing Moon or Raikou or Thorns or anything. It is similar to like the Andrew Hedrick build from NEIC. You know, 4 Pokestop, a bunch of Switch and all that stuff, but does have a different lineup of attackers this time around. The Tomb is interesting, just kind of there to stop Rotom and Luminion and stuff. Really good into Lugia and Dragapult and Charizard and stuff. We'll have to see where Lost Box goes going forward. It probably gets a little bit weaker. It's just really tough to play Lost Box now, because if the deck does good and it picks up popularity, then everyone just starts playing Drago again, and then immediately the deck falls off, right? So it's like nothing you really do about it. It's one of those decks that's probably going to like fluctuate. In top 4, there was a Palkia Dusknoir, which, you know, I predicted the deck was going to have a good performance this weekend. It's a strong deck. It's a really good combo deck, can just blow your opponent's board up really quickly. You see this build here, pretty similar, I think, to what we saw played already. It does have a still has Rotom in there, which I guess like one difference. Only one Trekking Shoe too, but you know, gets the job done. And then of course we do have a Charizard in top 4. Bit of a surprise. Wouldn't expect to see Charizard make it all this way, but this is a Charizard, you know, deck that did have some decent stuff. It's got the Cleffa and the Mist Energy, which are 2 really nice cards to have. Still plays the Briar and the Thornton, obviously, and the Turo and stuff. The usual technology. But yeah, Charizard can still win games. I know a lot of the Charizard lists this weekend might have been on Max Belt too, so we'll have to look at that. when we see more Zard 60s. Drago in top 8 too. Michael probably got lucky that he dodged Regidrago. Even if you play Mana Feed, they already have Cologne in the deck, right? So you're gonna get farmed anyways. Who cares? It is Drago with the Noctowl, so Noctowl might start being a staple within a Regidrago. The one thing to note actually is the highest placing Drago list did not play Noivern. One of the big talks of this weekend going into the tournament was everyone was talking about Drago with Noivern and Temple of Sinnoh. So basically against Tropicos, you hit him with Noivern's second attack that locks your opponent from being able to play Stadiums and Special Energies. You play a Temple of Sinnoh down, and then Tropicos literally cannot do anything at that point. They have to wait until they can Blood Moon or Saluna you. So it's a pretty free matchup when you have the Noivern and the Temple. That was kind of the big talk of the weekend. Even I considered playing Drago Noivern after I heard about that. But overall, it wasn't the highest placing Drago deck. It didn't play Noivern. Interesting thing to note there. And then there was, of course, Kieran in top 8, once again with Lugia, trying to run it back with a regional dub. Pretty sure it's like very similar to the list he played at Baltimore. Maybe with like 1 or 2 changes, it looks like, but pretty similar stuff. Got the weirder, the double Cinccino, no Raikou or anything. It's not the Rahul build. But then, of course, we have a Terabagos in top 8 here, played by Gabe Smart. Terabagos, it did fine. I mean, one was in top 8. I expected probably a little bit better out of the deck, to be honest with you, since it was very hyped up for the tournament, but maybe it was a little too hyped up because it got countered potentially by like Noivern. But overall, Terabagos still a strong deck. We see Gabe's list here. No Bouffalon. One thing to note, a lot of the Terabagos lists I've been running into before the tournament were all on Bouffalon because everyone was playing the Tord build, but maybe Bouffalon isn't optimal. I'm not sure. Depends really on how you look at it. And then we have Yurko in top 8 with the Lugia deck once again. Yurko did win, Joinsville Regionals, so, he's on a pretty good run so far. Now, his build does have the Raikou in the deck, but not playing the Lightning Energy Vessel combo, but still plays Raikou. Does have a Wellspring Ogerpon in the deck, too. Outside the top 8, we did have another Palkia Dusknoir. The big kind of story of this tournament was that everyone who did not make top 8, like outside of the top 8, like 9th, bubble, whatever, they all went X2, and they had no shot of making top 8 whatsoever. So if you got into day 2 at 6-2, you literally couldn't make top 8. It's kind of crazy how that happened. But there was a Palkia Greninja outside of top 8. In a better world, everyone at X2 would have been an asymmetrical cut, right? But just didn't happen. We got another Raging Bolt here, played by Xander Perot. So yeah, Raging Bolt did better this weekend than I expected. It won the tournament. It got, top 16 here. We see it does play Briar and Iono, but plays 4 Bravery Charms. So just like all in on the Bravery Charm. I actually don't hate that. 4 Bravery Charm, honestly, is kind of gas. For sure. Now, I don't know if this is going to impact how popular cards like Jamming Tower is going to become in Lost Vacuum, but it definitely is pretty interesting. Another Lugia in top 16. This one does play the double Chino, not playing the Raikou or anything. There was a Snorlax here in top 16 too with the Regieleki. Regieleki is obviously really good to like loop infinite resources. Makes it harder for a lot of decks to counter you when you can get stuff back. The Regieleki is just a very strong card within Snorlax. Another Zard here in top 16 played by Isaiah, and this was the Zard I was talking about playing Max Bell. That was another thing I heard this weekend was Zard with Max Bell was going to be a good play. Max Bell just helps with, Terabagos. A lot of other matches where just having that extra boost of damage out of nowhere can be very annoying for the opponent to deal with. And yeah, I'm not surprised to see it have a good performance here. Was able to get top 16. Again, X2 record. Could have been an asymmetrical cut if we were in a different world. We have a Lugia in top 16 with the Klefki in the deck. Another card that was interesting this weekend, I saw a bit of Klefki and Lugia. Played against the Klefki Lugia at a challenge I was at in Louisville. So Klefki definitely does look like it could be interesting, just to slow down the turbo decks pretty much and just stop them from setting up. We got another Snorlax in top 16 here. No Regieleki or anything. Just play 4 Temple of Sinnoh, though. And then we got my friend Julian in top 16 with the Terapagos Dusknoir deck once again. Playing at no Bouffalon in that list. And then we got another Lost Box here outside of top 16. This one did have the Fez in the deck, so it's pretty similar to the list that won the tournament. Does have a Fezandipity, though, which is pretty good inclusion in Lost Box. I'm actually surprised the list here that Michael Davidson played did not play the Fez, because Fez is a pretty good card to play in Lost Box. You bench that thing, it's like your Iono proof almost. It's just a very good card. Also lets you combo really quickly. You can literally go like Cramor it turn 2, Fez into like Sableye if you can draw like into enough combo pieces, which is kind of crazy. But it's what it is. Lost Box still doing Lost Box things. We got another Palkia Dusknoir here, played by Alex Shemansky. Strong Palkia list with a double Froakie there. Another Raging Bull playing the Southern Wing. Does have the Iono, no Briar, but only 1 Bravery Charm too. So didn't play like the super heavy line of Bravery Charms or anything like that in that build. Then we have another Snorlax played by Cal, who was playing the Mist Energies. Didn't have the Temple of Sinnoh, though. Just stuck with Artisan, you know, just kind of take the Lugia at that point. That's kind of the logic. Another Palkia Dusknoir here. And then, let's see, we got another Lost Box. Now, this is what I was talking about. There was a Lost Box deck that I saw that had a Zapdos in it. So, let's read this real quick. I know it does like 190. So, it's got the attack. Thunderbolt does 190 damage. Discard all energy from it. So, pretty sure the reason behind the Zapdos was that it just did a lot of damage as a lightning basic Pokemon. There are multiple different lightning Pokemon you could play. The big one comes to mind is the Zeraora from Stellar Crown. But this one is interesting, too, because, I mean, you can just do 190 damage. Now, I think the other catch with this card is that it knocked out Rotom. I think that's also what I heard about why the Zapdos saw play. Because, like, there are good lightning Pokemon. There's a Thundurus and there's a Zeraora. But the Zapdos is definitely an interesting inclusion. I guess, yeah, it just does a lot of damage. 190 can be really high numbers to hit. Can two-shot stuff with Spit, and then, of course, you do have the ability to knock out Rotoms and stuff with Thunderbolt, which is interesting. So it's very cool. The Zapdos got a limitless page. Definitely an interesting inclusion within the list. Other than that, yeah, it's got the same stuff we've seen with the Hands, Moon, Tomb stuff. We got another Raging Bolt with the Briar and the Iono here. And then we got another we got Dragapult, sorry. I don't know why I was about to say Palkia Dusknoir. We got Dragapult here. Dragapult did kind of underperform a little bit this tournament. I expected it to do a little bit better due to it having a little bit of hype, but Dragapult can kind of be a bit of a mid-deck sometimes. It is strong, don't get me wrong, but it definitely can, you know, kind of fluctuate between, you know, being good and mid sometimes, but it was able to do pretty good. It actually is the same list here that won the Dortmund Regional Championships, so cool stuff to see. You know, Lugia here playing the Hands. Does have the Raikou, pretty, the Rahul build, yeah, literally the Rahul build. There we go. Then we got Control, the highest placing Control in top 32. Control, you know, I expected it maybe to, you know, kind of be in the spot, like top 32 sounds about right. The tournament definitely did look interesting for Control, don't get me wrong, but I'm not surprised to see it not do as good over Snorlax. Snorlax did do a little bit better than Control, but it was Control here. Usual Control cards in the deck, nothing too crazy there. Another Tropico's Dusknoir here, played by Owen, who, I think aged up, so pretty good finish. Top 32 does have the Tropico's Dusknoir. No Boufflant. Once again, Boufflant list Tropico's deck. Do good in the tournament. There it is. Then we got Charizard here. Now, this Charizard list does play the Bibarel in the deck, so trying to keep the draw engine alive a little bit. Does also still play Thornton, Briar, Turo, the usual stuff, but just squeezed in the Bibarel. Does, of course, play the Prime Catcher in the deck, too, as the A-Spec over, like, Stamp or anything, which is also interesting. But I do like the addition of Bibarel just to make the deck a little bit more consistent. Another Raging Bolt here, top 32, playing the bundle. Does have the Dusknoir in the deck, so instead of playing the Sandy Shocks or Slitherwing, has Dusknoir instead to try to take a prize card to kind of initiate the prize race. That's interesting, for sure. Then we got another Regidrago here, playing the Noctowl. No Noivern in this Drago list. Does have the Jamie Tower Temple split, however. Got another Zard here with Dusknoir in the deck, and it's got the Unfair Stamp. Just play the 3 Nest Ball, 4 Poffin. Just try to set up as much as you can. Night Stretcher, stuff like that. Cool stuff, cool stuff. We got another Control here in the tournament. This one's a bit different, though. It's actually an interesting Control with Bouffalon in the deck. Honestly, it's kind of like a Terapagos Control in a way. Like, okay, it does have other Control stuff like Pidgeot, Mimikyu, but it does have the Bouffalon in the deck. So you're trying to use the Bouffalon. Obviously, you can protect your Pidgeys, but you can also use it to, you know, make your Terapagos a bit more scarier, because you can kind of loop the Terapagos with pennies every turn. If you can't one-shot Terapagos, you can take out all the threats that can threaten the Control deck. Does have the Rotom in the deck to set up. It's a really interesting idea, actually. Terapagos Control with the Bouffalon, it's a really cool idea, because you have the natural Control stuff, but if you want to start taking out your opponent's threats, like against Lugia, you can take out Cinccino with double Bouffalon Terapagos. That's pretty scary. And then you can penny loop Terapagos if they can't respond KO it, which is kind of cool, actually. Then we got, you know, Lugia here with the Wellspring Ogerpon. Just play the Raikou Lightning package too, cramming in that in. And then we got another Charizard here with the Heroescape. I heard a lot of Heroescape this weekend was good too. Just Heroescape with Charizard is good into like Dragapult. Can also help into Regidrago and stuff like that. And then we got Lucas Zing here with the Regidrago deck with the double Noctowl. Yeah, you play the same list as John Ang. Yeah, there we go. And then, yeah, we got the double Noctowl in the deck. Which is interesting, just more consistency. Again, no Noivern in the deck, so I don't know, man. That Noivern didn't seem to do good. We got Henry Chow also, top 64 with Guardy once again. Did play a pretty similar list to what he used to win Baltimore. Actually, does still have the kind of same lineup of stuff, the rare candies, the researches, secret box. Does change a few cards. I think there's a Spiritomb in the deck, and there's a Moonlit Hill Stadium in the deck, too. I think those were two of the big changes that he made to the list. No Lugia here with the Cinccino, pretty much the Rahul build it looks like with Lightning Cinccino stuff. And we got Piper playing the Bayonet Gardevoir deck, a deck that I think is really strong if played properly. It is a bit of a harder one to play, but it is a strong archetype. I mean, Bayonet item locking the opponent is very deadly. A lot of decks rely on Rare Candy and stuff right now, and then obviously you do have the Gardevoir engine in the deck. You got the Draw engine, you have the Monkey Dory in the deck. A lot of really sneaky plays you can make with the deck. Another Tropicos Dusknoir deck here. Once again, no Bouffalon in this build here. Another Palkia deck here. This is actually Palkia Dusknoir with Noctowl. So very interesting idea. Not really like a Palkia Dusknoir, like straight turbo deck like we've been seeing. Does still have Tropicos in the deck. It's got Glass Trumpet with the Tropicos, and it does also play like the heavy Noctowl and the Dusknoir. Kind of like a hybrid of those three decks pretty much, which is kind of an interesting take on the Palkia deck for sure. We got another Raging Bolt. Same 60 as Xander with the 4 Bravery Charms that we saw. No, Lugia. Yeah, a lot of Lugia in day 2. I'm not surprised to see that. Lugia was looking pretty good for this tournament, right? So we just seeing a lot of Lugia. Another Raging Bull, once again, playing the Sandy Shocks. No Bravery Charm in this build. It looks like... I think we are... No, we didn't... Did we look at this Lugia? Yeah, I think we did. All right, it got sandwiched between 2 Raging Bolts. Then we got Drago here. This one does play the Noivern and the double Temple of Sinnoh for the hard lock against Terapagos, of course. And then we got another... Regidrago is playing the Noivern also with the Temple of Sinnoh. So there we go. We're starting to get into the Noivern technology now. We got Dragapult Pidgeot here with Noctowl. So interesting 60. Does play that Noctowl for that extra bit of consistency. And maybe this is like the key to setting up Pidgeot. You can go Candy Dragapult first. You can then go Noctowl, and that can snowball into finding like Candy Pidgeot. So maybe that's how you set it up. Because like one of the complaints about playing Dragapult Pidgeot is like it's kind of inconsistent, doesn't set up as much. But I guess when you have the Noctowl in the deck, it can get there a little bit easier. So then it's easier to get the double stage 2 out. We had another very interesting Pidgeot control deck here with the Bouffalon, the Tropicos, and the triple Snorlax. This deck seems really cool, actually. Like, okay, it does have Snorlax in it compared to the other Pidgeot Tropicos deck that we saw earlier with the Bouffalon. But this one does also look pretty interesting. I mean, just the idea of playing Bouffalon with these, like, big, bulky, basic colors Pokemon like Tropicos and Snorlax seems kind of interesting. There's something there. Speaking of Snorlax, we got another Snorlax below it. This one's playing the Diancie here. Mainly just there to counter Lugia, right? Just 4 damage, 3 special energy on all your opponent's Pokemon. Really good counter to Lugia, which, you know, Snorlax infamously is not great against. We got another Dragapult here. Same list from the Dortmund. Then we got a couple Charizards here. This one's got the Unfair Stamp. Does play Temple of Sinnoh. Double canceling clones, kind of crazy. Just really respecting the Snorlax, the Mimikyu and stuff, and the Thorns. And we got another Zard here playing Temple. Does have the Stamp and the Clone also in the deck. Another Regidrago here. Playing the Noivern and playing Haxorus in the deck. Haxorus isn't a bad counter to Terapagos either, because you can either one-shot the Terapagos with Haxorus's attack that KOs you if you have special energy on, or just does 230 flat out. So there is some interesting things you can do with the Haxorus for sure. Another Lost Box here. Same 60 it looks like as Michael Davidson. So on the DDG team. Then, of course, we do have another Raging Bolt here with the Sandy Shocks. 3 Bravery Charm once again. And then we got a Goldengo. The first Goldengo in day 2 wasn't able to make top 64. I did play Goldengo to the tournament. This one, it's a bit different from the side I played. Has Silene. It's got the Hyper Aroma. 3 nice stretchers in the deck, and also playing Counter Catcher 2 in there. But yeah, I thought Goldengo was cool for the tournament. I mean, it didn't do as good as I really expected. I thought maybe one would be in like top 32 or something at most. But, you know, it's still cool to see Goldengo in day 2. It was a Lost Tina in day 2, which is also kind of cool to see. Another deck that like kind of just like no one really thinks about right now. Is Tina good? I'm not too sure. But Lost Tina in day 2 is kind of spicy. Does play Temple of Sinnoh. Basically like your usual Tina stuff, right? Nothing too crazy. Like, just got the Temple, Artisan, playing Blood Moon. No leaves. Obviously, you don't really need leaves anymore. Does have Tomb in the deck, too. Which I guess really does help in, like, Dragapult and Charizard. Got another Lugia here with the double Cinccino. Got Fluttermane in the deck here. Probably respecting the Thorns matchup a little bit. We got another Tropicos, once again, with no Bouffalon. So a lot of Tropicos not playing Bouffalon, which is interesting. We got another Palkia. Dusknoir here. Another Regidrago here, played by Grand Chen, with the double Noctowl in the deck. We got yet another Lost Box deck. Now, this one was Lost Box with the Hands, Thorns, Blood Moon. So kind of like the NEIC build. Also plays Bundle, playing Manaphy too, so like respecting the Drago and stuff. We got Thorns here. The highest played Thorns in top 64. Not actually kind of surprised to see that, to be honest. I thought Thorns would have done a lot better. I mean, there was a lot of Lugia in this tournament, and we saw above us there was a lot of Lugia decks. Low-key surprised Thorns did not do as well, but does have the hammers, the catchers, and stuff. I'm actually, wait, no, it's not playing... Wait, does it play Crushing Hammer? Yeah, it is playing Crushing Hammer. My webcam was blocking it. Yeah, I had catchers in the deck still, so a bit different from what we saw from, like, the late night, but yeah, I'm surprised only one in top 64. It's kind of interesting to see. Now, the Snorlax, this one does play Devo and Shiyu in the deck. A bit more technology there. We got another Tropicals top 64, once again with no Buffalon. So we have not yet seen a straight Tropicals Duster deck playing Buffalon. Interesting. Another Snorlax control package with the Regieleki in the deck. Another Drago playing the 1/1 Noctowl. No Noivern. And then we got another Tropicals deck. This one does play the Buffalon, though. So this one is on the Buffalon in the deck. So there you go. We got another Zard here with the Max Belt A-Spec for that extra big damage spike. And then we got another Bayonet Guardy deck. So yeah, a couple Bayonet Guardies in day 2. Really cool to see. Again, I like this deck a lot. Just don't think many people are going to play it just because it's just harder to play. And it might not be as appealing as other decks are, right? Another Raging Bolt here, playing the Fluttermane in the deck. No Bravery Charm. Does have Temple of Sinnoh and Penny, so interesting inclusions in the deck here. Another Lugia. Double Cinccino, Raikou, Wellspring. Another Raging Bolt. Playing Superior Energy Retrieval, Trick and Choose, no Bravery Charm, but does have that Slitherwing in the deck for the Tropicals matchup. And then we have a bunch of Drago. We got John Eng here with Drago on the Noctowls, and we got Nick Moffat playing Drago. Does play the Noivern Temple combo. And then, of course, we got yet another Drago here with no Noctowl and no Noivern or anything in that list. And we got a couple more Iron Thorns. This one does have an Ogre Pawn, Cornerstone Ogre Pawn in the deck to try to wall off Charizard. That's interesting. And then we got another Quad Thorns here. And then we got, once again, another Raging Bolt here, playing the Sandy Shocks. No Bravery Charm in this one, though. And then we got yet another Lost Box played by Hunter Butler. This one was playing the Lightning package of Raikou in hand, also playing the Roaring Moon and a Tatsugiri. The Tatsugiri is interesting, obviously. Can kind of be like Pheasantipity in a way where, like, if you have it on the board and you get, like, Iono, you can roll the Tatsugiri and stuff, which is kind of cool. So some interesting inclusions there with the Tatsugiri. Yeah, really cool Lost Box 60. Yeah, I'm happy to see Lost Box do well. I'm a fan of the deck, so it is cool to see that it had a decent showing in day 2, which unfortunately might be the last time we're going to see it, probably until maybe late Surging Sparks because of Regidrago, you know, just kind of existing. Another Pidgey Control, does play the Diancie in the deck, and the one of Snorlax, just respecting Lugia a little bit there. Another Palkia Dusknoir, played by Blake Ray on the Shovel Squad, does have the Klefki in the deck to slow the opponent down, especially if he goes second, can be very useful in, like, Mirror. Another Tropicals deck, playing the double Buffalon in that one. We got Guardy. So, yeah, Guardy, I mean, obviously I knew it wasn't going to do that great this weekend just because it's Gardevoir. Kind of struggles a little bit into the meta with how aggressive things are. But, you know, at least one Guardy did have a decent run. Like a slower pace Guardy deck. Not like the Henry Chow build that plays like the Double Candy. Just like more of a slower build here with like the Devo and stuff. Another Drago with Temple of Sinnoh, no Noctowl or anything like that. And then we got another Zard playing Temple of Sinnoh and Hero's Cape in the deck with the Dusknoir. Let's see here. Another Snorlax with the Quad Temple of Sinnoh for the Lugia matchup. And then we got another Drago here playing the Noivern. We got another Snorlax once again with the Mist Energy, no Temple of Sinnoh. And then we got another Regidrago here playing Gudra, but no Noivern or Noctowl or anything like that. And we got a bunch of Tropicals Dusknoirs back to back. We got one there. It's got the Buffalon. We got another Tropicals here with the Radzard Fire Energy. That was like the other thing I saw was that a lot of people were hyping up the idea of how to counter Noivern. The idea to counter Noivern with Tropicals was either play a Lost Vacuum so you can get rid of the Temple of Sinnoh, and then you can still use the DT that's attached to the Tropicals and attack into the Drago, and then you Dusknoir it. Or you can use Radzard and basic Fire Energy to attack into Drago. But you can also use Fire Energy with the DT already on the Tropicals. So you go Tropicals, you go DT, they go Temple of Sinnoh. You can't vacuum it, you can attach a Fire Energy and then start attacking. You actually do more damage too, which is kind of funny, because the DT is shut off, which is kind of interesting. And we got another Tropicals list here playing double Pidgeot. Interesting. Cool. Then we got Thorns here, once again, with the 4 hammers, the Enhanced Hammer and stuff like that, the clone. And another Pidgey Control here, played by All Out Blitzel, was able to make day 2 with Control. Obviously, like the Control Online Warrior. Not surprised to see him get that day 2 here. Yeah, pretty normal stuff. Got the Shiyu in the deck. No Tropicals or anything from what we've seen before. And then we got a couple more Raging Bolts here. We can quickly kind of skim through these real quick. This one's got Crispin and Slitherwing in the deck. And then we have a Lugia, once again played by Rahul. Rahul was able to make day 2. Unfortunately, was not able to make it with the run back in top 8. But still got day 2 nonetheless. Congrats again to Rahul. And we got our first Turbo Moon here. Now, I'm not surprised to see Turbo Moon flop. I mean, going in the tournament, I was like, this deck doesn't seem bad. But then, like, you think about it more, this deck gets absolutely just destroyed by Dusknoir. So I'm honestly not surprised that Roaring Moon didn't really perform very well. I think it's just kind of on the down low right now. I don't think it's in a very good spot. I think if you're going to play, like, a Turbo deck, I think, honestly, Raging Bolt is probably the way to go. So I'm not surprised to see Moon flop a little bit. We see a Cornerstone Ogerpon Mimikyu quad deck here in day 2. That's kind of funny. No Noivern, just kind of flat out Ogerpon and Mimikyu. You can attack with Mimikyu. It's got the Psychic Energy. You can attack with Ogerpon. Just a little funny meme control. So cool that made it in day 2. We got another Zard here playing the Cleffa. It does have Devo in the deck too, like the Cleffa. A lot. Cool stuff. Another Bolt. Got a couple Bravery Charms. No one-prize checker, though, it looks like. Another Palkia, Dusknoir. With the Diancie is interesting for Lugia. We got another Terabagos, once again, playing Tomb, but no Buffalon in that one. Another Terabagos here, once again, not playing the Buffalon or anything like that. And when you got a Gouging Fire in day 2, you love to see it. Actually, I was thinking about it. A Gouging Fire deck did win. I think it was it Dortmund? Yeah, I think it was Dortmund. Gouging Fire won in the Juniors Division in Dortmund, I think. Pretty sure it was Dortmund Regionals. I might be wrong on that, but I think it was Dortmund. Yeah, so Gouging Fire, like, low-key has been kind of, like, not slept on or anything. Like, on this deck's, like, insane or anything. But it is an interesting archetype. Like I said, it was able to win in the Juniors Division in Dortmund. I was thinking about doing a video on it. Maybe it could be worth doing a video on Gouging Fire here in Bliss that made day 2. Really cool stuff. It's got the Monkey Dory in the deck for that little bit of extra damage. You can heal off your Gouging Fire from your base. And Gouging Fire is a pretty hard-hitting attacker. It's also got a lot of HP like Raging Bolt. It doesn't do as much damage as Raging Bolt, though, which is kind of the downside of it. Got Zard here in day 2 playing the Bibarel. It's got the Entei V in the deck too, which is interesting to help counter the Ogerpons. Another Drago in day 2. It's got the Noivern in the deck with the Temple of Sinnoh combo. We got another Raging Bolt here with the Slitherwing technology. We got Lugia once again playing 3 Cinccino, so very heavy Cinccino count. Just trying to abuse Cinccino as much as you can. Another Turbo Moon here in day 2. Another Snorlax, got the Shiyu in there. Another Lugia here with the 2 Cinccinos, Weird Ear, no Raikou or anything like that. And then we got our first look at Miraidon. Now, I'm not going to lie, Miraidon wasn't in a bad spot this weekend, mainly because, like, with how the meta was looking, I thought Miraidon actually would have been a good play. Like, I was, like, even considering playing it the night before. I was like, man, is Miraidon really that good? Now, I don't know where Miraidon's going to go going forward. Obviously, Raging Bolt did win. Lost Box got second place. Those are 2 decks Miraidon doesn't really like to see, but Miraidon doesn't seem to be a bad play going forward. I don't know. Maybe there's something to it. Maybe Miraidon's a bit slept on. Who knows? We got Ian Robb here, who's playing the Palkia Dusknoir deck. Did have the Klefki in the deck also. Interesting stuff. Then we got a Moon. Once again, another Turbo Moon playing 2 Janine and 4 Sadas. So a lot of energy acceleration options there for the Moon. Another Bayonet Guardian day 2. Another Raging Bolt here with the Slitherwing technology. We got a Dragapult Pidgeot in day 2 again. So a couple Dragapult Pidgeots, a couple Dragapult no Pidgeot bills making it into day 2 is interesting to see. Another Tropicos Dusknoir here. Does have the Buffalon in there. Another Snorlax. A lot of Snorlax in day 2. A lot of Snorlax, which is interesting to see. Yeah, we got another Tropicos. Another Thorns here in day 2 with the Yell's Cheer, the Triple Penny. So a lot of, like, healing options, a lot more, like, control elements. And we got a couple of Miraidons back-to-back here. Got my friend Eric, who I was staying with, who's also a Miraidon. Like, he was hyping the deck up, going to the tournament. I was like, I don't know, man. Is it really that good? And I'm like, thinking about it more the night before. I'm like, man, maybe playing Miraidon was the correct call. I don't know. Maybe it was the correct call. Because Miraidon seemed decent for the tournament. Loki's probably see it not perform as well. I guess Raging Bolt just kind of overshadows it. Speaking of Raging Bolt, we got a Raging Bolt here with the Dusknoir and the Slitherwing. And we got another Raging Bolt here with the Slitherwing. Slitherwing might be the better option going forward over the Sandy Shocks and stuff. So who knows? Another Snorlax. We got another Snorlax here. Secret Box. Got the couple of temples in there. Another Raging Bolt playing Dusknoir and Sandy Shocks EX for a little bit of extra energy acceleration is interesting to see to kind of keep snowballing energy in play. Another Drago with no Noivern or Noctowl or anything. We got another Snorlax here. Once again, playing the triple Temple of Sinnoh. Another Drago. Does have Goodra in the deck. No Noivern or Noctowl. And we got a Sablezard in day 2. I'm always happy to see Sablezard do well. I'm not sure the deck is as good as Turbo, because Turbo seems better, because with how fast the format is, a slower deck like Sablezard, I feel like, doesn't succeed as much. But I guess it does have hands in the decks. Maybe it is better than I thought. I don't know. But anyways, I'm not as sold on Sablezard right now as I am Turbo, but it is cool to still see somebody make day 2 with Sablezard. I'm a fan of this deck, so I'm always happy to see Sablezard have a decent performance nonetheless. Another Zard here playing Mystic Max Belt in the deck. We got another Palkia here playing Silene in the deck. That's something that we might start seeing more in Palkia's Silene. Just saying. Then we got another Snorlax with Quad Temple of Sinnoh for Lugia. Another Raging Bolt. Let's see what we got in this one. Does have the Slitherwing in the deck. There it is. Another Control with the Diancie and Shiyu and stuff for the matchups that you needed in. Kind of cool stuff. Another, of quad Thorns in day 2 here with Legacy Energy as the spec. And then we got Noivern Cornerstone Ogerpon in day 2 with a Mawile, V-Star, and a Glimmora. Now, this is some spicy stuff. So, this is a very interesting control lock deck. I'm not too sure what the Mawile's for. I kind of get the Glimmora because you can throw Glimmora into the active spot against Terapagos, and then obviously their bench has to go down to 3. It's a very good anti-Terapagos card. I'm not too sure what the Mawile's for. If you don't know, Mawile does have that Sudden Eater attack where if it moves from the bench to the active spot, you do 90 more damage. And then it's got a V-Star power that effectively is a Guzma. So I'm not too sure what the Mawile was for exactly, but it is interesting to see the Mawile in the deck. This might be Mawile and Glimmora's first ever Limitless pages. Like I said, with that Zapdos and stuff. Told you there were some new, unique Limitless pages for the deck. And more Snorlax with the Temple. We got another Drago playing Gudra. A couple more Palkia Dusknors to look at here. We got a Raging Bolt. Once again, playing Sandy Shocks. No Bravery Charm in that one. We got another Tropicals Dusknor with the Boufflance in that build. We got Charizard with a Regieleki. Oh, interesting. Regieleki and Zard. I mean, it's not really a control Zard list. There's no like Devo or Eerie, but still is Regieleki to get those resources back. And then we got an Arc Armor in day 2. Always cool to see Arc Armor make it to day 2. This one does play the Monkey Dory, an interesting card we haven't seen before in the deck. But Monkey Dory is a cool concept with Arceus Armor It also plays hands with Luminous Energy too. Cool stuff. Another Tropicals Dusknor there. Another Turbo... Well, actually, it's Ancient Box. It's like more of an Ancient Box deck. More than Turbo Moon. It's an Ancient Box deck. It does have a couple Moons in the deck. Also playing a Biting Mochi. So that's cool. And then we got more Thorns. More Tropicos. Then we got another Dragapult Dusknor. Once again, similar to what we saw from the Dortmund tournament there. No Pidgeot in the list. And then we got another Zard here with the Unfair Stamp, the Dusknor and stuff, the Huge. And then we got Lugia playing the Rahul build, it looks like. And we got... No, already clicked on that. Oops. There we go. We got Tropicals Dusknor. Here we go. Yeah, Tropicals Dusknor with no Boufflant. Another Raging Bolt playing the Slitherwing. And then we got another Dragapult Dusknor with no Tatsugiri, though. Interesting. Another Thorns. Then below the Thorns, we got another Goldango. Goldango, my beloved. This one does look similar, of course, to what we saw in Dortmund. Yeah, literally similar. Yeah, pretty similar stuff here. Cool stuff, cool stuff. Another Raging Bolt. Sandy Shocks in there. Couple more Tropicals Dusknors. We'll kind of skim through these decks. We're kind of getting closer to the bottom here. Don't want the video to go on for too much longer. We got another Guardian day 2. Another one of the more like slower paced Guardian lists in day 2. Another Zard. Now this Zard was playing Grand Tree and Rabsca, so a bit more technology in this build here. The Rabsca being good into Dragapult and Drago, and then obviously you got the Grand Tree, which can be good with like Dusknor and Pidgeot and Pidgeotto and stuff. Cool stuff. Interesting that we saw a Grand Tree Zard in there. And then we got another Goldango. This one does play Silene in there. And then we got another Lugia. The Rahul build of Lugia. See, we got another Raging Bolt. Not playing any, like, one-prize attackers, it looks like. Another Drago here. No Noivern in that one. And we got a couple more Lugias here. Lugia with the Klefki. And we got a Lugia here with the Wellspring Ogerpon. We got a couple more Zards going on here. One Zard with Max Belt and Mist Energy. And we got another Zard deck here with Grand Tree. Cool stuff. Now, not playing the Rabsca like the other build, but still playing Grand Tree is kind of cool to see. Another Goldango in day 2. We got Palkia Noctowl. So not the Palkia Dusknor deck. Doesn't play Dusknor in here, but does play still the Noctowl and the Tropicals and stuff. And we got Palkia Dusknor below it. And then we got, let's see, another Thorns here. Another Dragapult Pidgeot. And then let's see here. We got another Tropicals playing the Tomb in there. Another Lugia playing the Wellspring and the Raikou stuff. We got a couple more Raging Bolts. Got the Slitherwing in that one. We got another Raging Bolt here. This one does play Sandy Shocks. And then we got another Bayonet Guardian. Whoops. Another Bayonet Guardian day 2. Again, always happy to see Bayonet Guardian day 2. Again, harder deck to play. Not surprised to see it is popular, but a few in day 2. So, didn't, have a decent showing for probably the lack of players who actually did play it, obviously. And then we got another Raging Bolt Sandy Shocks. And then finally, a Palkia Dusknor round at day 2. And there we go. That is the entirety of the Louisville day 2 deck. So, the big kind of turnout was that Raging Bolt and Lost Box were like the two big stories. There's a lot of Lost Box in day 2. A lot of Raging Bolt doing good. Raging Bolt winning in the tournament is kind of wild. What is this going to mean going forward? Is Raging Bolt going to be BDIF? I don't think Raging Bolt is the BDIF, but I do think it's going to gain a lot more stock going forward, especially with the list that Caleb used to win with the inclusions in the deck. And then, of course, Lost Box might pick up a bit more play. I'm not sure where Lost Box is going to go going forward. Just the Drago matchup is really tough. And if Drago starts to see more play, it's not going to be too good for Lost Box. We'll have to see where that goes. Drago might get a lot more popular after this weekend. So we'll have to see on that one. But that'll be it for me on today's video, looking at all the lists that made day 2 at Louisville Regionals. Some interesting stuff did make it to day 2. Some interesting control lists, some interesting Lost Zone stuff. Cool stuff to see, and I'm always excited to see how the meta evolves going forward. We'll have to see where this goes in the online tournament scene, also post Louisville. So we'll have to look at that very soon. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like. If you're new to the channel, subscribe down below. Help me on the road to reaching 18K subs. I'll leave a link to Lumos down below if you want to go check out any of the lists and build them for yourself. And thanks for watching. I'll catch you all in another video. Bye-bye.